What's up, everybody, and welcome to Bios3 Raw TV. Today we're going to talk about meal timing and athletes. Okay, this is going to be the last time that we bring up the whole mealtime thing, or meal timing thing and metabolism, because every time, a bro wants to argue against a science guy, they say, well, none of these studies have been done on athletic people or people that are not sedentary or obese, etc. Well, this is just one of the studies that was done on athletes, active people, okay? It was done on 60 people, which is a lot more than the 3, 10, 12, whatever was going on before. Now, before we get into this, I love when I put out videos, and, usually I'll get 5 or 6 emails, within a couple hours of putting out a video. But when I put out the ones about meal timing and other things that people just don't agree upon, or, not many people putting out the legit information out there, I get waves of emails, like 20, 30 every couple hours about different things. And I get people sending me other things like, hey, here are these studies, here are those studies. People are getting involved rather than just sitting back and letting people argue and let it be entertaining. They're getting involved to try to say, look, I want to help put out news. I want to help put out the right things. I want to help put out the good information. And I love that people want to get involved. So, David, thank you for sending me this an email to the link with those studies in it, because I feel like this information definitely has to get out there, because all that's ever talked about is the other information on obese, sedentary people. Now, without further ado, meal timing and metabolism. Does meal timing and meal frequency affect metabolism? Not in a sedentary, normal person, but in an athletic person. Okay, someone who works out, someone who's athletic, an athlete. Okay? In the last few years, studies on the effects of meal frequency have been encouraging among researchers. A majority of the research is justifiably centered on the obesity epidemic. Okay, so first of all, they're always looking about obesity. They don't give a shit about athletes most of the time, okay? Unfortunately, there's very limited data that has examined the impact of meal frequency on body composition, training adaptations, and performance in physically active individuals and athletes. Okay, so not just in body composition, but training adaptations and performance. 3 things that go hand in hand with bodybuilding. Okay, those 3 things are very important, not just body composition. Several studies utilizing animal models have demonstrated that meal frequency can affect body composition. Specifically, an inverse relationship between meal frequency and body composition has been reported. Some of the earliest studies exploring relationship between body weight and meal frequency in humans were published approximately 50 years ago. Okay, so now they started this 50 years ago. Okay, and even 50 years ago now, obviously things can change as time goes along. They say, maybe we were wrong, maybe we were right. So now what happens, they're like, well, 50 years ago it said this. Well, now it says sedentary obese people, there is no change, even though there actually is a change in those blood markers and metabolism. So now they said, okay, let's go back and revisit it and say, okay, instead of obese sedentary people, let's use athletes, let's use active people. Let's see what happens, not only body composition, but how the body adapts, as well as, what was the other one? The body's adaptation, as well as performance, which means that can you push harder after you've had a certain meal time frequency adapted to your body. So they used 1 large meal. Okay, this is what the study was done with. 10 meals per day given every 2 hours. 10 meals is a lot. I've done that before. It's hard to do. 3 meals per day. Okay, and then they measured metabolism. Okay, metabolism encompasses the totality of chemical reactions within living organism. They used diet-induced thermogenesis, otherwise known as the thermic effect of food, resting metabolic rate, and protein metabolism. Okay, those are the 3 markers that they were going to use to do this study to find out if the food meal frequency and meal timing does affect the human body. Let's see. It was demonstrated that when a 250-calorie snack was given to 60 male and female college athletes for 2 weeks after breakfast, lunch, and dinner, as opposed to a non-caloric placebo, a significant amount of fat was lost and lean body mass was gained. So now what they did was 3 meals a day and 3 snacks in between meals, or 3 placebo snacks. The ones with the placebo gained no muscle and no change in body fat. The ones that actually got the food in between meals lost body fat and gained muscle. Okay, say athletes, this is this control group, 60 people. So the half that did get the food had changes in metabolism. The half that didn't get the food had no changes. Or in body composition anyways, I'm sorry, not in metabolism, whatever. A significant increase in anaerobic power and energy output was observed with the 30-second Wingate test in those that consumed the 250-calorie snack, which means that the ones that actually got the snacks in between their meals had more energy output, more power output. Okay? Now, common sense tells you if you're pushing more power during these workouts, you're going to need to recover. Okay? So there is a difference in metabolic rate because you're putting out more power and then needing to recover. There is a difference. Okay? No significant changes were observed in those consuming the non-caloric placebo. The ones who did not get the food did not show any increase in power output and did not need to recover as much. Interestingly, when the individuals consumed the total snacks of 700 calories a day, they only had non-significant increase in total daily caloric consumption. In other words, they conveniently ate fewer calories at each meal. Lastly, when the 250 kcal snacks were removed, the aforementioned values moved back to baseline 4 weeks later. So within a month, it took a month for their bodies to go back to baseline after removing those snacks, which means obviously there's some kind of metabolic change happening, and when it's removed, if it was just the food making that effect happen, it would have stopped very quickly. 4 weeks it took the metabolism to slow back down in order for everything to reach baseline again. Okay, very important. In conclusion, the small body of studies that utilized athletes as study participants demonstrated that increased meal frequency had the following benefits. Okay, had the following benefits. Suppression of lean body mass losses during hypocaloric diet. Means you did not lose muscle mass while you had the more meals. Okay? Significant increases in lean body mass and anaerobic power. You got bigger and stronger by eating more meals. Significant increases in fat loss. Your metabolism was faster. Okay? Those three things happened. While the only thing that was different in these athletes was the meal timing, the amount of meals, the number of meals. Okay? And it was right across the board. All the ones who had more meals, same effects. All the ones that had the placebo, same effects on that side. Very easy to understand. Very cut and dry, very black and white. There's no interpretation. You got the extra food, spaced the right times apart, your metabolism was better. It was more efficient. It burned fat, it built muscle, it was more powerful. Period. The ones who didn't get it, didn't get those effects. These trends indicate that if meal frequency improves, body composition is likely to occur in an athletic population as opposed to a sedentary population, which means that athletes do increase their metabolism with the more food, and the people that are sitting on their ass on the couch, which are the studies that all these wingnut science guys are quoting, do not increase metabolism. So although metabolism changes do occur in the sedentary people, supposedly, it's not an increase in metabolism in sedentary obese people. But athletes, which is what bodybuilders are, we train year-round like friggin' animals. We do get the benefits of increased meals and the meal timing being a certain way. There's no doubt about it. The studies are there. This is just one of them. But these are not the ones that the science wingnuts quote. They don't look at these and say, oh, shit. Now, as a bro, you know, I don't know where the bro came from. I guess I'm the bro. As a bro, I already knew this. I didn't need this study to tell me that this is how it works. I don't need mice. I don't need lab rats. I don't need monkeys. I don't need anybody to tell me that it works. I just knew it works. Now, they're not saying really how this works either, just the fact that it works. So is that a bro that's doing this? Are these scientists considered bros? Because they're not breaking down the chemical reactions that are happening while this is happening. They're just saying, we did this, this happened. The same thing that I do and the same thing that every other bro does. We fed them this happened. Period. There was a result to it was an effect that happened when we did something. Done. That's pretty much, I mean, I'm going to put a link to this in the suggestion box. And to close it up, it says, most but not all of these existing research fails to support the effectiveness of increased meal frequency on the thermic effect of food, resting metabolic rate, and total energy expenditure. However, when energy intake is limited, increased meal frequency may likely decrease hunger, decrease nitrogen loss, improve lipid oxidation, and improve blood markers such as total and LDL cholesterol and insulin. Nonetheless, more designed research studies involving various meal frequencies, particularly in physical active athletic populations, are warranted. So now they are saying, you know what, it could be a fluke. These 60 people could be a complete fluke, so why don't we do it again? And I think it's a good idea. I think you should do it again. Because I think if you took half and half and split them in two different groups and did one thing with one people, one thing with another people, got the results straight across the board that you did, let's do it again and replicate it. Let's prove it. Let's prove it again. But I don't need to prove it because this is not the first time this has happened. And there's thousands of other people out there doing this that are not in a lab. And it works. So this is just one study. You guys can check out the rest. Google this shit. It's out there. This is not in PubMed, by the way. People get all pissed. You use PubMed. You know what? PubMed has some of the same fucking studies that you're quoting. Those are the same fucking studies, but they just put them on PubMed. Yes, there's some bullshit on there, but it's some of the same shit you science week nuts are talking about. biosretraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't... Yes, fight it out. Duke it out. Boom, boom, boom. Fight it out. www.biosretraining.com is the blog, and we're the active meal timing bicep. We're out.